GurlTauX every day. Follow socials, here's the way.
GurlTauX, every platform come to play. Catch our vibe, don't delay.
Facebook, YouTube streams, scrolling through your daily memes. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. Keeping it real, it's what we do. So tune in now and join our crew. Lights moving through the screen, click subscribe, don't be mean. Upbeat chatter, it's our routine. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. GurlTauX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere GurlTauX can be seen. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. Update stories, laugh and cry. It's GurlTauX, so don't question why. It's the show that you'll adore. Come back daily to get some more. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. GurlTauX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere GurlTauX can be seen. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. GurlTauX, log in now, watch our show. Likes and comments, let them flow. Every day we're on our way. GurlTauX show is here to stay. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about.
Hello. Hey. Good evening. Good evening. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing well. It is a hump day, middle of the day here. Lots of stuff happening. Everything happens so quickly. Do you guys notice that? So, sadly, Val Kilmer has passed away. I am really happy to see that he fought his battle with cancer for 10 years. He was one of my favorites. I really liked him. I liked his down-to-earth style. I watched his movie Val. If you haven't watched it, you really should watch it. It's a very, very good movie, especially because of the fact that as a young artist, a young actor, a lot of people may not know this, but he literally did little videos, personal videos of his entire journey of becoming an actor and everything that he did, even before that as a kid when he made little short films at home and all the things he did. So he had so much footage, and his son did the voiceover for it. So it was super, super special. I really, really liked it. I watched it quite a long time ago. But if you haven't seen it, please go and watch it. It is really, really a beautiful story. It is really, really sad that he has passed away. Quite often when you have long ailing ailments like he did, he had throat cancer and he had a trach put in a long time ago. And so there's a lot of stuff that gets in there, bacteria. He probably had, they said pneumonia, but you can have a couple different types of pneumonia. But pneumonia is a very common thing that happens to people who have long-term illnesses like that. So it is sad that he has passed away. So I think it's nice to just remember him. And he was one of the good ones, as I would say. And, you know, we can all remember him as Iceman in Top Gun, and we can all remember him in quite a few of the movies, Batman, So I just want to say thank you to him for being such a prevalent part of our movie watching time. My heart goes out to his family with the loss, and all his close friends and stuff. Um, Although we all don't know some of these people, when someone that is influential in our lives, meaning we've watched their movies, we've watched them perform for us and, all the different things. Oh, I mean, his acting in the portrayal of the Doors was phenomenal. I mean, he did such a great job, and he talks about that in Val, about how he prepped for it and how he watched and watched and watched, Jim Morrison over and over and over so that he could get his moves down literally perfectly. So, that is pretty amazing. I'm gonna say that was pretty amazing. Anyway, it is, really sad when these people go, and sometimes you get very emotional over it. I was sad to hear this. It was very saddening. He was 65 years old, so he really wasn't that old, but he did suffer from cancer and, fought that battle for many, many years. And, so his fight continued even though I think they had gotten rid of the cancer, but you still have medical problems, especially when you have a trach, and because it's in your throat, and you can have all sorts of stuff get in there. And of course, if you have issues with swallowing food, it can get in there, and you can have pneumonia from that as well. So my heart goes out to the family. Granted, sometimes we have an even bigger reaction to the loss of some of our celebrity heroes, or like Betty White, and especially when they've been around for as long as, like, Betty White was just shy of her 100th birthday. So many generations grew up watching her, but many grew up watching Val Kilmer and seeing him in all sorts of different movies, and might be best known for Batman for some people that really watch the superhero type genres, and for people that just fell in love with Top Gun. I will say I was absolutely thrilled that they had him in Top Gun 2 Maverick. Now, a big portion of Maverick was actually filmed in my hometown, in Lake Tahoe. They filmed in the snow, flight scenes, and when they crashed and stuff, that was in my Tahoe mountains. And the plane, I know from friends of mine that were actually part of it, that live in Tahoe. 'Cause I have a cousin there that's in dispatch, and a cousin there that well, she's not anymore, she's retired, but another cousin that is a police officer there. So I know that they had to shut down streets, and they had to truck in the, Tomcat, and, they had to literally truck it in and put it together, there, and that was the same airport that my mother used to fly out of. My mom was a pilot, and, she used to fly out of there, and many, many years ago, it was a commercial airport. You had TSA, or, TSA, TWA and PSA that used to fly in there. PSA, for all you old school people, that was the plane that had the happy face, the smiley face on it. So those planes used to fly in there many, 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 many moons ago. And I used to sit in there and watch them fly all the time. Very small airport. My mom flew out of there a lot. In fact, that's where my mom flew Elvis out of the Tahoe airport to Vegas. So, yeah, there's some really, really cool things when you grow up in a place that some cool movies are filmed there. So getting to see some of those things are pretty amazing. But having Val Kilmer actually be in the second movie, Maverick, even though he had his speech issues because of his cancer, They accommodated him really well, and they also didn't have to do a voiceover or some AI voice to portray his old voice. They let it be the way he was, and they did it very dignified and very beautifully, and, it was sad that he passed away in that movie, but I honestly, when I saw that movie, I thought he would probably pass away very soon after it, and I was very pleased that he hadn't. So, shout out to Val Kilmer and what a beautiful career he had, and thank you for being a part of our lives, and God bless your family. Now on to some other news. Ye or Kanye, a little bit diabolical and crazy, wearing his Ku Klux Klan outfit in black, and I guess he had a Instagram post or something that he posted with a white KKK outfit. Looked like it was hanging on a mannequin that he just tagged outfit for the day. Um, I don't understand. I know he's trying to get, uh, edgy and he's trying to get attention. That's what he's seeking. He's seeking attention, and it's ludicrous. He's nuts. He's crazy. And, does he not know what the KKK stood for? Um, I'm not sure that he understands even what he's doing because it's certainly not going to help him in any way, shape, or form that I can, um, see. I don't know. Can you see? Other than getting controversial and, um, so many years ago, there was a interview with, Kevin Bacon. And, they asked him how he felt about the tabloids and all the negative publicity and all the negative things said, and do you pay attention to it? And he said, "I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Keep it coming. Do it all the time." And they said, "Why in the world would you like that?" And he goes, "If you're in the tabloids, it means you're still relevant." So, I guess in that same theory, if we're still talking about Ye or Kanye, I guess that means he's still relevant, but I don't know that he's still relevant. I think everybody has finally realized he's completely off his bonkers and out in left field somewhere. Um, so I'm also going to make sure that I can get chats if anybody does chat on my Rumble account. And and if anybody has a Dear Margaret, we will have Dear Margaret later on. But if you have a question for Dear Margaret, it is my take on the old Dear Abby. So if you have a Dear Margaret question, please send it in to me. You have about 35 minutes, and then I will be doing Dear Margaret at 8 o'clock, 8:15. I will be doing Dear Margaret. So if you have a Dear Margaret question or advice question or just a question, please, you can send it on chat, or you can send it on Messenger on Facebook, or you can send it to Dear Marge, MARG, at GurlTauX, GurlTauX, and we can read your Dear Margaret on the air. So, in other news, Bill Maher went to the White House and met with the president. This was, I think it's really cool because it's like, Kid Rock is like the ambassador to the stars. He has gotten a lot of people to just meet with the president. Prior to the election, during the election, after the election, he has facilitated quite a few different meetings with the president, and I think it's actually really good. I know they're irrelevant. I know that these people are irrelevant. There's some people that it wouldn't matter, like I would say probably Robert De Niro, it probably wouldn't matter because I think he already knew him and didn't like him. Rosie would never meet with him, and I don't know that he would meet with Rosie either. And Whoopi was, I think Whoopi was on The Apprentice at one point in time, and she loved him prior to his running for president as a Republican. And then I think she was told, you have to hate him. And then I think over time that she's just gotten to a point where she just is absolutely um, bought into her own rhetoric and bought into her own hatred. And when you lie to yourself and to people enough times, at a certain point you start to believe the bullshit too. They have what's it called? Stockholm syndrome. And I think there's an awful lot of Democrats that are in Stockholm syndrome, and they believe a lot of this stuff that I don't know that they need to believe anymore. But anyway, I do have this little thing to share with you here on Kid Rock's visit.
All right, tell us what happened from start to finish in 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds, I went on Bill's show, I went on his podcast, and I said, man, nothing happens if people don't break bread together and meet face to face. He's been one of the president's hardest critics, and we came to dinner, me, Bill, Dana White, and it could not have been better. Everyone was so surprised, so pleasant. The most shocking thing to me was, Bill's obviously a very big liberal, been very hard on the president, but he's donated a lot of money to other politicians. You've had Biden, Clinton, Obama, everybody. He had never been to the White House, and the president was so gracious. He took us up to the private residence. We saw the Gettysburg Address in the Lincoln bedroom, and I was like, you've never been here, Bill? And I was like, how about this? President Trump, extending this olive branch, and we talked about things we had in common, ending wokeness, securing the border. The president was asking him what he thought about policy, going on with Iran and Israel and things. It just it blew my mind. It was, right. I was, very, very proud.
And I think they're going to win from it. The scariest part for a lot of people is finding out that Trump might be a good person, because you've sunk so much of your energy and your life into him being bad. So you might not want to meet him, because the moment that you have to relinquish any of that sunk cost, what's left? That's why you still have, and I think it's easier for Democrats. It's not, for never Trump Republicans, they can't let it go, because their entire identity is wrapped around that definition of who they are. They go into a room with them, that sunk cost destroys them.
That's why I never want to meet AOC.
Yes.
It'll make it harder for me to ridicule her.
Yes, that is so true.
I don't want to be empathetic.
Yes, that's why I wish I never met you.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
That is so true. And by the way, what hold on just a second. By the way, what about that outfit? What about that outfit that Kid Rock was wearing? Is that not so patriotic, so cool? I've seen several of the outfits he's worn to some of the Trump events, and it really is pretty amazing. Now, I believe that's when he signed an executive order for him. I don't know what it was for, but it was something cool that he signed for him, and so he has it. But the whole point is that I think it's pretty incredible when you have somebody who can facilitate a meeting with someone that they disdain so much. And Bill Maher has said some pretty horrific things about the president. He has fed into a lot of the rhetoric. However, I have watched him recently, and if you have watched a lot of the episodes as of recently with Bill Maher, he has been really, really coming down on the Democrats and how stupid they are and how they have to come to the table. They have to come together. We can't continue with this rhetoric. They can't continue with the lies. They can't continue. Now, there's some stuff that he still buys into and he still believes. Now, I don't know if you remember me saying this the other day, but Trump did sue Bill Maher for $5 million a while back, and it was a joke. He did pull the the lawsuit out after. But the lawsuit was because Bill Maher, in one of his comedy skit things or whatever, said, I will donate to your favorite charity if you can produce your birth certificate that doesn't prove that you're not from the parents of an orangutan, because the only thing I can find out there that looks like your hair is an orangutan. And Trump jumped right in it and produced his birth certificate and presented, and that was over the whole debacle of Trump offering money for Obama's real birth certificate. And Bill Maher did this, and he never gave him the money. He never not paid Trump, but he never put it to any charity or anything. So Trump sued him for the $5 million. I know he dropped the lawsuit, but I don't know if Bill Maher ever. I'm going to probably research that, but I don't know if Bill Maher ever actually donated the money to anything, or he just they just ended it there. I'm not sure. So I think it's still pretty great when you have somebody like Kid Rock who facilitates a meeting with somebody who's such an adversary, because whether we like it or not, and whether they're relevant or not, because I think quite often most of these people in Hollywood are not relevant to the rest of us, really. But the relevancy is they have a voice and they use their voice, and there are people that actually do listen to what they have to say. And I think that's sad, and it's kind of scary also that, we have some of these people that that will say things that are not truthful, and they follow along with the rhetoric of legacy media, and it convinces people of some really negative things. Today, I had a lady who was she posted a post on Facebook, and it was about how Doge and Elon Musk. I mean, I love how they say Elon Musk. Elon Musk cuts $800,000 from medical research. And she had this big old long post about it. I said, have you done any research? Do you even know what the money was earmarked for that they have cut? And are they even aware of the fact that Elon doesn't cut anything? Elon personally can't cut anything. Doge personally can't cut anything. It is a suggestion up the chain, and the powers that be are the ones who actually cut the stuff out. So it's not Doge going with an axe or whatever, or a chainsaw, and actually cutting anything. It goes up a chain, and they show the reason and stuff behind it as to why they're doing it. Now, you also have a lot of people damaging Teslas and damaging a lot of other things, and having these fire bombs and these protests, and the stocks are down, and this and that, all related to Doge, which I don't understand why they're not at like the capitals or the state buildings or something protesting the government, because it's a Doge organization. It's not a Tesla organization. Tesla is not doing it. Now, I do fear for Elon that, it is a publicly traded company. So I do worry about the board having a vote of no confidence and removing him from Tesla, which I believe they can do if they have a majority vote. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure if that's something on the table, if that's something that's been discussed. I'm not sure if Elon has thought about stepping down from Tesla. I don't know that Tesla would do as well without him. That would be a concern. Now, I know myself, I have a hybrid. I have a Honda Accord Touring hybrid. I love the car. It's almost at 300,000 miles. It has been an amazing car. It has done us really well. When I first got it, I could get about 61 miles to the gallon. I really knew how to, there was a certain mileage, miles per hour, that I had to stay in when I was on the freeways and stuff. Like, I could drive to San Francisco from Reno, Lake Tahoe, and I could drive to San Francisco on one tank of gas, and I could get about 61 to 63 miles per gallon. Now, there was a lot of hills that I would be going down, so that adds to your mileage. But now the highest I can get is maybe up to 50. If I'm doing a really good, careful drive, I can't go over 69 miles an hour. I have to go between 68 and 69 miles an hour. Anything over that, and the gas mileage significantly drops. And I would imagine that's probably the same thing for Teslas. It's probably not the gas mileage, but the distance probably reduces the faster you go because the more you're using up the batteries. So there are trade-offs for that though. Now I have a hybrid, so I have fuel. So if I'm traveling, which I travel quite a bit, and I like to do a lot of driving, that is going to reduce the length in places I can go in the quicker times because it only gets, 300 and something miles to the gallon or miles for the charge. But I thought about it. I looked at them a while ago. I never went and test drove one or anything, but I went and looked at them a while back, and I thought, no, I don't want a all electric vehicle. I'm concerned about that. One, we also have this issue with the batteries and the disposal of them at some point in time. Whether we go back to an all gas car in our next vehicle or we go to stay with the hybrid option. However, because of what has been happening, I seriously have contemplated going out and getting a Tesla to support Tesla and Elon Musk. And, because I like what they're doing with Doge. My husband does work for the federal government. We do have the issues that are happening there where the people that are, but they're taking the resignations with time off and they can go get another job. And they're getting paid with full benefits for 6-8 months. No company does that. You don't get that as a regular person. Only people that usually get the big severances and all that and extra pay and everything are usually people who work at a higher executive level. Now, I know they have early retirements that are available. I know they just opened up the offer for resignation again. They opened it up again. I don't know what the caveats are to the new one, but they did open it up again because they're trying to filter it down. So people who are taking that have not been fired. And that's what's being so misleading in the legacy media where they're saying these people are fired. People have not been fired. They have been given a severance of 8 to 6 months. That is a lot. And they have the opportunity to go to find another job. Anyone who has signed that document that they want to take the early resignation, they are actually accepting and wanting to resign. They don't have to. They're not forced to. And they haven't done a forced downsizing of anywhere. There's only like 1.01% that have actually been terminated or fired, and it was for cause. So let's call apples apples and oranges oranges. And my husband and I have even talked about if they came out with the retirement with a severance part of the retirement. It's basically a lump sum along with retirement. It's a bonus for retiring early. That we have contemplated whether or not we would be willing to or want to do that. My husband has almost 30 years. Well, he has 30 years. So we have not made a final decision of that. It's not on the table yet, so we don't have to make that decision yet. But he's definitely not going to take the resignation. And no one that has over 20 years is going to take the resignation. That's smart, because unless they're lefty and they're crazy and they're Democrat and they don't agree with the new administration and they want to stick it to them. They're sticking it to themselves, kind of like with Tim Walz saying, I'm watching the stock go down. That's hurting you and your constituents and your people. So you're kind of an idiot. That's all I could say on that part of it. Let's talk now about when and why Elon Musk might be leaving. Here's a little bit from Megyn Kelly talking about whether or not Elon is going to be resigning or not, and when that might happen. I know he has said he's a special employee and he's not paid. He did not take a pay, and he is only on for 130 days. Now, they can always renew those. The special duty, special assignment, special positions. He's an advisor to the president. So those can always be extended. I know that that's a thing in the military. It's in the government as well.
Breaking news is that this is via Politico. The headline is Trump tells Inner Circle that Musk will leave soon. Now, keep in mind, Elon Musk basically told the same to Bret Baier in his interview last Friday, where he said, just so you know, he's been hired as a special government employee. That's a special role you can get as a top advisor to the president, and you only have a term of 130 days. It's basically a way to end around Senate confirmation requirements. Joe Biden did this too. Anita Dunn, that monstrosity, she's a horrible lady. She was one of the key people over at the Time's Up organization that loved to go after any man who was a Republican. But if you were a woman like Tara Reid seeking their help, it was a big middle finger because Anita Dunn was close to Joe Biden. So screw you, Anita Dunn. In any event, she was a special government employee for Joe Biden. And the thing is, to be honest, at the end of that 130 days, they can just renew it. So they can keep it rolling. You actually don't have to leave right after the 130 days. But Bret Baier saw that, we are, I don't know, a month or two away from hitting that point. He asked Elon about it. Do we have that soundbite? I don't know if we have this soundbite. We don't have the soundbite, but here's what he said. I'll tell you what Bret said, then I'll read you the political thing. He asked Musk on Thursday whether he'd be ready to leave when his special government employee status expires. He essentially declared mission accomplished. Quote, I think we will have accomplished most of the work required to reduce the deficit by $1 trillion within that time frame. And then this past Monday night, Trump told reporters that, quote, at some point, Elon's going to want to go back to his company, and added, he wants to. I would keep him as long as I could keep him. On the heels of that comes this piece in Politico that Elon Musk will leave the administration soon. Trump told his inner circle, including members of his cabinet, Elon Musk will be stepping back in the coming weeks from his current role as government partner, ubiquitous cheerleader in Washington, hatchet man. President remains pleased with Musk and his Doge group, but both men have decided in recent days it will soon be time for Musk to return to his businesses and take on a supporting role, according to 3 Trump insiders who were granted anonymity to speak. There's a headline over in the Daily Mail that he has stepped down as the head of Doge. That does not appear to be the case. That is unconfirmed. It feels like, at least as of this hour, that's only the Daily Mail who's reporting that, and that's not in Politico. So we'll wait to see whether that's also true. But I think, look, if it's true that he's going to...
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. I thought about this myself, with Tesla being a traded company and all the violence and all the things happening at Tesla and Elon Musk and all the people, would it be beneficial? I mean, I would not want to see the left celebrating or feeling like they won or they beat Elon by him stepping down from Doge. But at the same time, you have to look at the big picture of it. Would he be stepping down for the better of everyone out there that has a Tesla, all the owners of Tesla, the staff at Tesla, the people that work at the sales buildings, the people who work on them, the one of the places that was firebombed, I think in Vegas, was a repair center. So would it be beneficial for everyone else, if Elon were to step down from Doge or step down from his special assignment as uh, is portrayed here, and it probably would. Would the left celebrate it? Probably. The left would take it as a win. We ran him out. We took him out. But at the same time, you have to do what's best for the country and best for the people. And would it be best for the people? Are there some things the way that it's being done with Elon and with Doge and with all the other people? I would hope that they would continue. I think his main involvement, getting involved and seeing how and getting the ball rolling, sometimes it's okay to have somebody get in there, get the ball really rolling and get it going and get a move on and start making these changes that need to be made. And then we have the rest of the team can continue the work and they can start, because at this point they're going to just be implementing new software and new programs and trying to get the programs to talk to each other so that there is that overlap. And you have Social Security talking with the Small Business Administration so that 9-month-olds aren't getting business loans. I mean, whoever that precocious 9-month-old is, but I'd like to meet him, a pretty smart kid. But we know that's not the case. Somebody used a Social Security number, whatever. And the NGOs, the USAID, those things being shut down and the people who are benefiting from those has been broken already. So it is one of the reasons why, like, I own a nonprofit for veterans. I never applied for a grant, and I never applied for a grant because I saw what was happening in the federal government and I didn't want their money. I didn't want to be a part of that. I didn't want to be under their thumb. I wanted to try to do as much as I could by myself. But if there's going to be better oversight, and the thing is there's other things. I applied for a small business loan several times and I was always denied. My husband, when he had his business, denied. Which makes us wonder, some of these people who get these crazy things. And I said, well, Steve, it's also because we're honest. We don't lie on the applications. We don't forge anything. We don't falsify information. So honest people, sometimes in those situations, we're seeing that there's the dishonesty in it. And a lot of these NGOs, I would like to see them follow the money. I would like them to see when you have senators or congressmen's wives setting up nonprofits and then getting grants for $2 million or come on. You can't tell me that Pelosi is worth the amount of money that she's worth without her doing some shady stuff with stocks. It's called insider trading. It's incredible when they had well, I can't remember who it was with, but there was a huge purchase of stocks, and then like days later they got a big government contract, and the stocks went right through the roof. When that stuff happens, you got to wonder, if I were Martha Stewart, I'd be making some phone calls. I want this expunged from my record. I want my felony to be removed. I'm pissed off that these people are obviously doing insider trading, and I'm the one that they sent to prison. Are you kidding me? Like, there should be a whole slew of them all going, because how are they worth so much money? And when you look at some of these programs that were stopped, you have people complaining that they're stopped. They cut 800 million or something like that from medical research. But if you look at what the medical research was, a lot of it was on transgender studies, or this thing with gender, and this thing with sex, and this thing with, and it was all related to LGBTQ, RA negative 4 times 7, whatever, I don't know. But you had a lot of very weird, nonsensical things that were getting grants at these universities, and the universities get a huge chunk of that money. So one of the things Elon was just talking about, and I'm going to share a little bit of his conversation here in just a moment, but a lot of the stuff that he was talking about was also discussing the fact that that a lot of these people are are getting these grants, and only 60% actually goes to the study. 40% goes to the actual university to spend. And part of the changes that Elon was talking about is that they were going to change it so that uh, uh, they can only get like 15% or something like that. If they got a certain amount of a grant, that the university would get a very small portion now instead. So I think those are great things. We don't need the universities just getting these crazy fake grants and just to fill their pockets, because that's what it starts looking like. It starts looking like they're doing it to load their pockets, not because of real studies. It's like they're loading their pockets just so that they can have extra money. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like to me as a normal American person, no position of anything. So, I think we should be looking at those factors and what really is cut and why they're really cut. I'm gonna do a more of a deep dive with a little bit more investigating into what actually has happened. Um, on top of that, we have Jasmine Crockett. She responds to AG Bondi sending her threat to her in her Fox News appearance. So I did see that. I don't know if any of you saw that. Pam Bondi did make a comment about people like Jasmine Crockett. You should not be putting threats out like, what I want for my birthday is the takedown of Elon or take out Elon. You can't really do that. That is really, really wrong. And we have to think about the element of what it appears, what it looks like. If you're in a position like Senate and Congress, you need to watch your words better and be more careful than anyone else should be. You absolutely have to be a lot more careful, because the things you say and the things you do are way bigger and way more important than what the average person says. So there are people out there that take your words to heart and they actually go and do something with it. There's a reason why Trump had 2 assassination attempts and several others I'm sure you even know about. Those things are very important, and we have to be cognizant of those things, and we can't allow for negative things to happen and people to say all these horrible things. It can't happen. We have to absolutely be cognitive of it. That's a very important part here. Now, Doge has put out, and Elon, I'm only going to play a couple little portions of this, of Elon talking about the stuff that's happening, but he's taking questions from the audience, which I think is really important, actually. For him to take questions from the audience is kind of important, for people to be able to see what he is doing, what he is saying, what's really happening. I think some of those things are very important for us to understand what they're actually doing, what they're actually cutting. So if you haven't seen any of this, go and watch and see the whole portion of it here, because it is really important for us to see and hear what Elon is actually doing.
And violent protests overwhelmingly comes from the left these days. You know, it's like, and whereas the right is polite, you know, and fair as far as I can tell. So, yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you for being here. Your comment kind of about the Matrix is kind of ironic because my husband and I watched the first Matrix and the sequel yesterday. My question is, when so much of social media nowadays, you know, whether it be X or YouTube or whatever, is kind of curated to like a person's particular beliefs, or even where we have protesters that show up to town halls or potentially are paid. How does America kind of come together? And it used to be where you could have a conversation and have discourse like you discussed,
Right.
And still be friends even if you disagreed with kind of some of their statements. When you talk about knocking on doors, like to different people's house, like one kind of fear that I have is like, even if you talk to somebody, everybody has their own set.
Yes,
of
I'm with you.
beliefs
Get
and
to the
their own
point.
truths. So I guess, how do you get through that?
Yeah, well, I think what we saw there for quite a while was that all of the legacy media and all of the new social media were in lockstep together. And they were all parroting the same left-wing talking points. And they were suppressing any dissent and any so-called right-wing or frankly even centrist views. And with that's why I felt it was critical to acquire Twitter, now X, in order to enable that dialogue. So it's certainly a step in the right direction, and I think you've seen now, once X was willing to break ranks and not censor Republicans, then you saw others also start to move in that direction. You know, it looks like, for example, Facebook and Meta, you know, yeah, they have certainly, Mark Zuckerberg has stated that they will be doing a sort of community notes based on the community notes.
Well, I don't know why that skipped over to the other one. I think I hit it wrong. But it is absolutely true that,
as an example,
stop. It is absolutely true that we have a major issue with people that are sharing information and it's not accurate information. That's the most important thing, is we've got to have accurate information and we have to have the truth about things, and we can't just say something without backing it up somewhere. And I know the one thing I have liked seeing is that Doge is sharing the information and they are being transparent about it. And that helps me to understand. I also can go there, and I have. And if you have questions about it, go to doge.com, .gov, and read some. Now, it is hard to understand. It is really hard to understand. So you go and look at some of the cuts and some of the things that's actually been done, and see where the money was actually flowing, see what the money was actually going towards, and see if it was relevant. And if it wasn't, and it was unnecessary. And I think one of the important things that I've talked about before is that I would like to see the government stop with the contracts, with the purchasing contracts, because there are a lot of contractors out there, companies that you are only authorized to buy from this company because they're already a government contract. So the maintenance guy has to only buy toilet seats from there, and the toilet seats are $3,000 or $350 or $500 or $1,000, whatever the price is. I know it's exuberant. But he can't go down to Walmart and buy one for $19.99 because they don't have a contract. I think that's baloney. And a lot of these companies, once they get a contract with the government, they know the government's just going to cut them a check for whatever they send as their bill. And there's no checks and balances. That is a big important part, is we've got to have the checks and balances. So here's a little bit more of the end of their speech here, and hopefully I get it at the right spot.
A tax, maybe I shouldn't tell people this, but it'll actually work. I mean, mostly, there's some chance you'll get caught, but if you fill out a fake tax return, you can just get a tax refund, even though if you didn't pay taxes. So we're trying to stop all these things, to say like, okay, well, let's stop the waste and fraud, and we also need to turn off the massive financial incentive for illegals to come to the United States and stay in the United States. And this is really the thing that is causing the Democrats to lose their mind. You know, because they're actually spending, at this point, tens of billions to attract and retain illegals in the United States. It's really on that scale. It's a gigantic number. And the goal is to turn all the swing states blue. That means Wisconsin. So that's the goal. So with the asylum program, if they can get a green card within a year, and then they can get citizenship as quickly as 4 years after getting a green card, because the first year of being an asylum counts for the 5-year citizenship waiting period. So this is a very big deal. So a number of friends of mine have actually joined the government and in order to help with this project.
Now, that's a very important thing for people to understand, is these asylum seekers that were given this special status when Biden was president is very important, because that's what they're fighting against. And it was erroneously done, therefore it has to be undone. And then you could have maybe some legitimate people that actually do need the asylum part of it. So I think that's very important for us to pay attention to, and for us to see where that's actually going. And we do need to consider what is actually being said and done, not just what's being said in the media personalities, the media people out there that are saying one thing and they're not giving the whole information. I think that's very important, that we are paying attention to the whole thing, not just part of it. All right, so let's see this last little part
Security,
here.
where you may have heard that we found 20 million dead people marked as alive in the Social Security database. This is so crazy. And then you'll notice there's a strange...
And just a reminder, this stuff was found during Obama's administration as well. And that was originally found during Obama, and there was some other ones found prior to that. So they've had a problem with this for many, many years, and it has not been fixed in all that time.
Trend here, where how many Social Security numbers were issued? Do you want to?
Yeah. So let me tell you what happened here. We started at the top of the system.
You want to talk about a lot of maybe?
We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security to understand where all the fraud was. And there's a lot of great people there that showed us really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff they're working on. You've heard some of that already. But this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, just this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. And this isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. Yeah, this country's been great to us. My brother and sister all born in Spain. I'm pro-legal immigration. This is not political. This is not political. This is about America and the future of America. And there are a lot of good people in the system that pointed this in this direction. I want to honor them right now, that work in the government today, who took risks to show us these numbers and tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
So I want to stop for a minute. I want to honor those people today. Very good people. Very good people.
That's the whole point that the legacy media does not want to talk about. They don't want to talk about the fact that there is actual problems and that they're finding the actual problems, and the people who are coming forward with these problems that are basically like whistleblowers, they are coming forward now because they feel safe to do so. They certainly didn't feel safe during the Biden administration. And for the last little thing that I'm gonna share is this little bit with Jasmine Crockett. Like I said, she is a real problem, and I don't like the things that she has said, and I don't like the things that she has been doing. And I think it's important for us to share these informations and talk about these things because it is disgusting, the stuff that she says. And my favorite part about this, I will interject when you hear it, but there is a favorite part that I really love about this.
Thank the chairman. I now recognize the ranking member of the subcommittee, Jasmine Crockett.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And I first just want to begin with a news alert. Guess what? Joe Biden is not the president anymore. So maybe we can move on. Maybe we can move into the present because it seems like we are living in the past.
Holy crap. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Did she really just say that? They never let it go with Trump, ever. They never let it go. They never even let him be president the first time. They fought him all the way, and they're already doing it again. So are you kidding me right now? Oh my God. She's entertaining.
And listen, these are not the good old days, you know, like you used to sit around and your grandparents would talk to you about what used to happen. What we need to be talking about is how we are going to legislate, because I think that some of my colleagues have confused what our jobs are. And I get that we're sitting in judiciary. And so it may seem as if we are here to be litigators, but we are here to be legislators, which means that we are supposed to be writing laws, not trying to have our own trials and determine whether or not something is true or not, or whatever the case is, or who should be sued, who shouldn't be sued. All I know is that a great American hero.
Are you kidding me right now? So they went after Donald Trump for years, sicking the DOJ on him, and false information upon false information, Russia, and all these other things. And that's not their job, but that's what their job was when Trump was president before, and they're already starting it again now. So are you kidding me?
A good senator out of New Jersey said something to the effect yesterday as he was shattering the record for holding the floor, a record that had been held by another racist in this country. As he shattered that, he said something about the fact that this should not be about left versus right. It should be about right versus wrong. And I am going to tell you that I want us to focus on right versus wrong. The reason that we are struggling right now in this country as it relates to people not trusting agencies, honestly, a lot of it is because of elected leaders. Let me tell you, one of the things that the chair...
She is correct about that. It was because of elected leaders, because we had leaders in positions that were using their positions to attack and go after people. And let's not forget the Maxine Waters who said go after people, or the Pelosi who said go after people. These people have been using their position to go after people and hunt people down. So let's not forget that part of it. Jasmine.
Chairman and I actually agree upon, we don't agree on a lot, is that we both know that there has been a sharp incline as it relates to threats upon our lives. Regardless of what side of the aisle you sit on, we both know and agree that as sitting members of Congress, we both are enduring more death threats than anybody should in this country. And I believe that it is because of the divisive rhetoric and it is because of the selective.
But not your divisive rhetoric. Just you. When she talks like this, it's a lecture that she's giving to the right, but it's not a lecture she's giving to herself or any of her people who have been spewing this rhetoric themselves.
Enforcement of things. And so when we have, and I'm gonna be clear because I had remarks and I'm going a whole other way. To have the sitting attorney general go on, and I'm gonna call it faux news. I know some of y'all love it, but it's fake to me. To have her go on Fox News and to then decide that she wanted to send a threat to me, it was wrong. Because here it is, she is the highest law enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information and they are believing that simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing.
Except for her freedom of speech was she called for them to take down Elon Musk and take down Tesla. She called for violence and she called for aggression and she called for, that's what she wanted as her birthday present. So Pam Bondi telling her that your threats are an issue, she has a problem with, but we aren't supposed to have a problem with what she said in advance. Okay.
That she then wanted to then politicize something that should not be politicized. I don't like Elon Musk. I'm gonna say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating above the law. For whatever reason, just because he has a lot of money, more money than everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him because he is a problem. And so you never should have somebody that is sitting that high and is going to sit up here and threaten a sitting member of Congress when she knew good and well, if she watched the entire thing, that I specifically told protesters to make sure you consult with lawyers, just like I've told protesters over and over and over in the history of me advising people to go out and exercise their constitutional right. The fact that there are other sitting members that have received letters of threat from this new DOJ tells me that they are about retribution and they are not about following the law. The reason that our party,
are you kidding me right now? So she did not say peaceful. She said take him down. And she did not say be peaceful. She did say consult with a lawyer if you're going to do anything crazy. That is true. So why are you telling people to do something crazy? Anyway, I want you to understand that there are people that are referencing what she said, and it's been quite a few on the left who have said things like this. We're going to end it with that. I don't want to watch the rest of her thing. If you want to see the rest of that, go watch the rest of it. But she has a real problem with the truth, and she has a real problem with being honest about what is really happening out there. And she has a problem of her own with the different things that I'm sorry, I was reading something. So there is somebody who always has a bullshit answer to put out. And when you are guilty of doing some kind of bad behavior, you have to think about what you're doing and what you might have contributed. And you can't sign yourself off that you're free to do whatever you want and you're free to say whatever you want, but you are not accountable. You are still accountable for the words that you use and the things that you say and the what especially because you are in a position of somewhat power. People are going to look at you in a lot different way than they do somebody like me saying, go after so and so. I'm a nobody. I'm not of any importance, but you kind of have a position of power and you're telling people to go after someone like that, especially under the light that you said you're all having death threats. You are putting death threats on Elon Musk by your words and your actions. So we have to think about those things too. And it is important that we consider all of that. I don't want in any way for people to think that it is okay to misuse their position, whether it's of power or whether it's for nefarious reasons, whatever it is. We need to think about the things that we say and the things that we do and what we have, what our voices are. What we say matters and how we act matters. It's very important. Anyway, it's really frustrating to me to read some of that stuff and to hear what people have to say. But it is time right now for us to do our Dear Margaret segment. So let's get to Dear Margaret. Give me 1 second here.
Dear Margaret's here, let's dive right in. Bring your questions, let's begin. Life's a real maze. We'll help you with your coping. Dealing with life in this rat race. Honest thoughts, no sugarcoating.
Tell us your tales, your woes, your gripes. No fluff, no bows, just real life types. Sign it clever, let your pen take flight. We'll serve the truth, sharp and bright.
Send us a query, take a lead. No hidden rules, no secrets to keep. Anonymous wisdom that cuts so deep. Dear Margaret's advice you'll want to reap. But in the end, let's admit we all really don't care, Margaret.
All right. So here is our Dear Margaret for today. And let me, I always forget to turn this camera on. So let me make sure camera 4 is on, and it is on, and we are good to go. All right. So let's see. Okay. So, Dear Margaret, what is your thoughts on the federal government opening up another round of deferred resignation program with a voluntary early retirement authority? Will this help to prevent pink slips and layoffs, or is it just another Doge tactic to get rid of federal employees? Sign, worried about the workers. Well, I think that is a good question. It's a big question because we all have heard the different things going back and forth. We've all heard the rhetoric that's been spewed out there. It is a voluntary, as it says, it's a voluntary early retirement authority, and deferred resignation program. So deferred means they're going to have until whatever date it says. I'm not sure what the date for the new one is, but you're accepting to resign and you're taking the offer that goes with that. And I'm sure that these are to prevent pink slips and layoffs, but this happened when Clinton was in office. He did an awful lot of layoffs and an awful lot of reduction of force. And it's important to keep in mind that you don't have to sign those. You don't have to agree to them. You don't have to do them. However, there was a time when we had an influx of people and money was going out and we didn't have the funds. And during Clinton's reign, there was a lot of people that were just laid off. I don't know that they always did the deferred resignation program or if they just let people go. During COVID, they let an awful lot of employees go because they wouldn't take the vaccine and they were fired, no benefits whatsoever. I don't think they were even given this option. So I think if it's relevant to you, and if you have 20, if you're getting closer and closer to retirement, I would say do not take that because you don't want to lose the benefits that you have for retirement. And when the retirement authority part of it comes into play, just think through it before you agree to do anything and understand that it could be coming because they don't want to do the pink slips and the layoffs, but those could be coming if not enough people voluntarily leave. But you have a lot of departments that are going to be reducing because you're eliminating them. Like USAID is eliminated, Department of Education eliminated. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be either retired out or they're going to have to move them to another job position or they're going to be able to take this voluntary resignation program. And the important part is for people to look at it, weigh it, make a good, smart decision that's best for them and their family, and not just automatically assume that it is that they have to do it. It's not a requirement. Nobody is being forced to do this yet. And it might get to a point where I would almost say, since they brought the deferment back, that I would hold out a little bit because maybe the first early retirement is offered, but then they might offer it with a little bit more of an incentive. When the incentives start coming where you can take an early retirement, I know my husband and I have been talking about this, but we would not take it without there being some kind of a bonus, some type of a benefit besides just the early retirement, because my husband is eligible for retirement in February of next year. So there would be not really an incentive for him to take an early retirement because it might not be a benefit for us. So we might not take it either way, but you have to review all the things, and them trying to also make the retirement program and retirement easier than it currently is. My husband's already taken some classes on it. You have to take an education to get retired. So he's already started that process. And if you haven't started that process, I would suggest you start that process so you can learn what retirement is and what it means and how the process works. As of now, I know they're trying to streamline it and they're trying to make it much better and get rid of all the excess crap and the hand done part of it. I know that many years ago, we put in for an early retirement based on a medical, which was a different way of doing it because he had been injured on the job and he was eligible for a medical retirement. And we filled out all the paperwork. We did all the stuff. We sold our house and all of our stuff, and we bought an RV, and we were going to travel full time in our RV. And while we were waiting on that, and that was the only thing we were waiting on, and we knew that there was no reason for him to get denied. Well, 10 months later, when we finally got the paperwork back, we were denied, and it was because there was one part of it that was filled out incorrectly, and we had to resubmit the whole entire thing. And by that time, he was in a supervisor position, so there was really no benefit for us at that point. So we decided to not fill out the forms again and not go ahead and go forward with it. So with that, you have to think about what's best for you and your family, and not necessarily what's best for the government, but what's best for you and your family. And also, I think you need to take into account what position you're in. Are you enjoying what you're doing? Are you happy with what you're doing? Are your supervisors happy with you? Are you bored? Are you engaged? Are you challenged at your job? Do you have places that you can do more and you are really thriving there? Then maybe that's not an option for you, and maybe you should think that part of it through a little bit more. There is so much going on, and I have been doing a lot of research. I'm sorry if it's not as streamlined as it will be. I'm working on getting a lot more information and stuff put together in advance for my shows. But being that I'm still recovering from my surgery, it's taking me a little bit more, but I will have a little bit more streamlined with my cuts and stuff that I'm going to be sharing. So please bear with me as I muddle through this right now until I get really more streamlined and a little bit more efficient with the information that I'm putting out there. And there's so much happening. That's part of the problem. There's so much happening every single day to know what to discuss. I know tomorrow I am going to discuss the doctor that is now looking at attempted murder charges against his wife in Hawaii, in Maui. That just recently happened, and I want to talk a little bit about that. I do like talking about crime too, so everything is not going to be about the same thing all the time. It's not always going to be politics. Sometimes we're also going to talk about mental health, and we're going to talk about sobriety. And there's a lot of different things that we're going to talk about on this show, stuff that I go through personally and my family and friends. Kimberly has been really, really sick lately, so I'm wishing her well and hoping she gets better soon and she can be back to the show. But until then, we wish everybody well. I am going to cut this out like a couple minutes early just because I am actually needing to go upstairs and use my restroom, and I'm not going to do that and leave y'all just hanging here. So I'm just going to end early because I've got to go. Literally, got to go.
Thank you for watching GurlTauX live broadcast, which airs weekdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Don't forget to send in your Dear Margaret questions.
Email them to Dear Marge, M-A-R-G, at GurlTauX, GurlTauX.com.
Answers. We love having you. Thanks for taking the time to be with us tonight. Don't forget to like